Before the season started, we pretty much expected the Toronto Raptors to finish around a third through a sixth seed. Some Toronto Raptors fans were pretty much big fanboys saying they should be a second seed, they're good where they're at, yada yada. I was always in the position that the Raptors at their peak this season, before the season started, they would be around a sixth seed and they would be bounced in the first round, but the Raptors have actually dipped even more into these standings. So the Toronto Raptors, they're all up in the rebuilding mode as of right now. There's been reports of Kyle Lowry on the trading mark. The trade deadline, there is 24 hours left. We have to see if Kyle Lowry is actually going to be bounced and going to be traded either to teams like the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and so on and so forth. The Toronto Raptors, as of right now, they are sitting at around the 11th seed at an 18-26 record. Losing Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka were low-key but big pieces for their team and franchise. Now, when you're looking at the Toronto Raptors as a whole, they've had that championship DNA. They lost in the second round in 7 games to the Boston Celtics, and Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol are championship-type players. Losing that big presence has brought them in situations where they have to rely on Aaron Baines and some big men along those lines that doesn't have that type of impact on the floor, as well as having that veteran leadership and let alone a contending presence on their team. You're relying more on Kyle Lowry. You're relying more on Fran VanVleet as a starter now. And in the days where they won a championship with Kawhi Leonard and the crew, Fran VanVleet was a sixth man coming off your bench. A huge impact, a power bunny. But now you're having a pretty much a backcourt of Kyle Lowry and Fran VanVleet. Pascal Siakam has not lived up to the hype. He is not that number one guy. He cannot be. And he's not a true offensive scorer like that. So it's an awkward situation for the Toronto Raptors. They did not retool in a good type of way, but it's still not an excuse for them to not be in the playoff push. They should be at a worst case scenario in their situation from the beginning of the season around a 6th seed, but they are sitting around 11th seed. The Toronto Raptors actually last season were sitting as a 5th seed because the Eastern Conference, you could be around the 4th seed like the Charlotte Hornets as of right now, and be around 2 games away from being a 10th seed. So who knows about the Raptors? They can actually push things back in their situation, which can go back and forth. The beginning of the season, they did start off terribly with a 1-7 record, and it's been pretty much trying to play pickup as of so far. The Toronto Raptors roster is not ideal as it is. Now, you do have your core foundation of course, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Fran VanVleet, and OG Anunoby. The rest of the roster is not ideal. Aaron Baines is a nice piece, but he should not be a starting center for a championship contending team, or let alone a true playoff team. That cannot be the case. And you do have some young cats out there. Patrick McCaw, Stanley Johnson, Norman Powell's been, he's a nice player for them, but he's going to be on the trading block as well. Paul Watson, Malachi Flynn, Henry Ellenson, Chris Booker, DeAndre Bembry. This team right now is not a true retool team to be a playoff contender. And I didn't expect them to be this low in the standings. They could still finish in the playoff hunt around the bottom 6 or so. But the Toronto Raptors, they got to look themselves in the mirror. They could potentially go for a first round exit at the end of this season and blow it up. Or they can just blow it up as of right now. Now, seeing the Raptors and how things work out, I fully expect, because they're asking a big demand for Kyle Lowry. If you're looking, they want to pretty much get around 2 first-round picks and a good player for Kyle Lowry. I don't expect that to happen. I do not expect the Philadelphia 76ers to have enough assets to entertain that idea. Same thing with the LA Lakers. So I fully expect the Toronto Raptors to pretty much stick with their current roster and try to push for the playoffs at the end of this season. Now, with Kyle Lowry and the trade rumors, at the end of the game against the Denver Nuggets, they did take a 135-111 victory over Denver. And at the end of the game, Kyle Lowry stuck out to the media with the deuces sign. So it could be an indication that Kyle Lowry's in the know that he is going to be bounced and he's going to be traded away. But, we're going to have to see a little more deeper into that situation. Who knows about it? The Toronto Raptors have been one of the most teams here that have been pretty much a disappointment. The Miami Heat were a disappointment the first half of the season, but if you're looking at the Heat as of right now, they're at a 5th seed. They picked things up. The Washington Wizards have been a disappointment this season. The Boston Celtics have been a disappointment. Same thing with the Indiana Pacers. And in the Western Conference, probably just the New Orleans Pelicans in whole. So when it comes to Toronto, should they blow it up right now? Can they get any pieces? Should you ask a big piece for Kyle Lowry? Or should they try to make the playoffs and in the offseason retool? We'll cover a little more when it comes to it. Let me know what you guys think down below. And let me know if you guys think Kyle Lowry anyone's going to get traded.